Happy Sunday, good folks. I hope that all is great on your end. I hope that everybody that come across my content and my material is doing them in the most bona fide way that they know how, right? And one might say, Queen Bree, why do you start your videos saying what you say, as far as I hope that everyone is doing them in the most bona fide way that they know how? Well, like I said in a previous video, there was a time when I began to come into my spiritual awakening, which was some years and years and years ago, when I actually, what I tell people, when I left the church and when I was no longer a Christian, because I was raised, Christian / Baptist, but more so, Christian. And then when I came into my spiritual awakening and started on my spiritual journey, I learned so much and I became aware of so many things that it was like, there was like sorrow, there was a lot of anger and frustration, because when you know that the majority of things that you were taught growing up, and a lot of things that's going on in the world, and a lot of stuff in society is a lie, and that there are so many illusions, it brings frustration, it brings anger, it brings sorrow, because you wonder, how can one operate the way that they do? How can one move, and how could people tell such lies? But then I had to come into the awareness and step back and say, well, how can I expect people to think like me or to move like me when we're not the same and we don't think the same? So that was a hard pill to swallow when I came into my awakening. Shout out to the brother Young Pharaoh. The brother Young Pharaoh was I was already coming into my spiritual awakening, but when I came across the brother YP, as I like to call him, or Young Pharaoh, it opened me up, the things that he was sharing and the knowledge and gems and jewels he was dropping opened me up to a wide range of different things, and all of this knowledge, and when it comes to metaphysics, and when it comes to ancient Egyptians, and being black in America, and you name it. Very sharp brother. But unfortunately, sometimes bad things happen to good people, or sometimes we just fall short. It's just a part of the human experience. So we have to be very careful. But during that time, just like such as people like YP, he came into his awakening and his knowledge, and whatever was the catalyst in his transition, and all of the things and the knowledge that he's gained and everything, he ended up sharing that knowledge, and he was so excited about it. He was so passionate, just a powerful young brother, right? So I got so much respect for him. I got so much respect for a lot of people in the community. And that before I go on about what I was saying about the things that I learned and the awareness that I came into, Young Pharaoh was one of those people that I followed. Billy Carson is one of the people that I followed. Gurus, or some of the monks, and there's just all kind of different content online. I've read a lot of books. So there was a lot of people after. I'm saying that to say that there was a lot of people after I followed Young Pharaoh. A lot of people who were voices in the community, and a lot of them still are. So there was just so many people that I have followed that I've gained a lot of knowledge from, and I feel like they're very valuable people. And then even till this day, there are people that are still creating content and still putting out material and things for people to go look them up or to go follow them or whatever. And if not for everybody, every vibe is not for everybody, but if you are you know, in a like energy or frequency or mindset, like-minded, then you might find it some kind of useful. So, you know, there was a lot of people that I followed who who helped to expand my mind, if you will, right? So one of the hard pills that I had to swallow, and I have to say that, and then shout out to the brother Yaki too. Yaki awakened, like a individual who can, you know, help to heal thousands upon, you know, millions of black people, and then other people I'm sure that are non-African or who are not black. I think that that's one of the highest callings, is to be able to heal somebody, right? So I just want to say that because he popped up in my head. But back to YP, amazing, right? And I send healing to that brother. I send healing vibes, peace, love, and light vibes to him, because again, sometimes people just fall short, you know what I mean? But one of the things that I had to learn, and one of the pills I had to swallow, was that sometimes we just have to meet people where they are, and sometimes we have to just, you know, accept where people are in their consciousness, in their awareness, where they are on their life path journey, because all of our life path journeys look different, right? And what might be good for one person doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be good for another. What might look one way in someone's life, it might help some people, but it doesn't mean that all of our lives is going to look the same, and that all of us should do the same thing, whether that be the way that we eat, whether that be, you know, some of the things that we do or whatever. And then the fact of the matter is, we're just a very different people. And then accepting that people, you know, they move at their own pace, and if you're anything like me, I bounce to the beat of my own drum. You know what I mean? So, you know, people, they evolve at their own pace and at their own speed, hopefully appropriately. And I think that, you know, people should really accept that. Now, I like to help people. I like to, you know, give knowledge and share information and things. And I like to share things that are going to help people, right? Even if it's telling people, you know, what's on my mind, because I know that there's a lot of like-minded people. They just really have to tap in, right? Or they have to find me, if you will, or I have to, you know, share myself a little bit more or whatever. I'm sure that there's a lot of people who actually, you know, vibe with my energy and really are, you know, like-minded. But I had to accept that, and, you know, that we're all different, and that, you know, people, they just are where they are. And I've taken in so much knowledge and information, and then I even like to read. So, you know, having the proper guidance, the proper leadership, and having, you know, proper information, and when you're a truth seeker like myself, like, that's all cool, fine, and dandy. And then having community, and then getting the proper righteous advice from the right people, all of these things go hand in hand. But with me having to come into the awareness of acceptance, accepting where people are, I also learned that sometimes people have to take a step back and, you know, listen to themselves, and then even go within for their answers, going to source, listening to yourself, and doing the things that make you happy, and doing the things that make sense to you. Obviously not being reckless, obviously not doing things that are unhealthy. You know, we're not perfect, but some people, they get sidetracked and they get off track because they literally are consciously making the conscious decision, and they're choosing things that are not healthy for them, and things that are destructive. The self-destruction thing is like a big frequency, right? The self-destructive frequency is so high, and it's so prominent. But when people don't have the awareness, they don't have the mindset, and they can't conceive a thought to be able to recognize that they're doing self-destructive things, then, you know, they can't stop it, or they can't change it in a society where, you know, a lot of people are numbing themselves and they're self-medicating, it's hard for one to change one's paradigm or one's reality when you're living a false reality, right? So, you know, people love to give advice, and even I do too, because I think that if we're looking for, you know, the good in people, I would like to think that our intentions are good, but we all don't live the same life. We came in this world by ourselves, we're gonna leave by ourselves, right? I mean, obviously, unless you're a twin or you were born of multiples, but still, the whole point is that we are individuals and we are here to live out our purpose, but to also do the things that are a part of our own journey, life journeys, or divine missions, if you subscribe to that way of thinking. Excuse me. Just a second, y'all. So this is crazy, and I want to show you something, okay? This is what I'm looking at from my distance, which is approximately about, that's a good 20, 30 feet, right? Now, I can see pretty good, but from where I was to right here, I just want to share with you why I stopped and why I paused and why I got off topic. But I want to share with you what this looked like, right? Watch this. So, you see that? Now, at a distance, that tree bark that is from one of the trees around here, that tree bark almost looked like a damn bat, okay? It almost looked like a bat. So I was just like, what the? I had to pause. I paused for a second. I'm like, what am I looking at? That totally took me for a loop. No lie. So where was I? Where was I? So yeah, okay. So yeah, I'm making this video message, and you know, I thought it was important, you know, I just wanted to share my thoughts, and I thought it was important, you know, to you know, remind people that there's so much being shared, and there's so much that's being talked about, and there's so much you need to do this and you need to do that, and you know, there's so many opinions and people that want to tell people certain ways to live, and having good intentions is good and all, but at the end of the day, you know, self-empowerment is definitely something that should be encouraged. And if I want to empower one, and I'm talking about self-empowerment, then I would advise one to figure out what it is that their desires are. What are the things that you like, and what makes you unique from the rest of the world, right? What are your unique talents? What are your strengths, and what are your weaknesses, right? What are your talents? What are your gifts, right? And what are the things that you like? Also, what is your awareness, right? Because if people know me, people that know me know my background. I've been known to be a very serious person, and for certain reasons have to be a serious person, and have moved in a certain type of way because of certain things, right? But there is oh my God, and I don't feel like enough people are talking about the big concern and the seriousness of the loneliness epidemic. And we all get lonely or whatever, we have these feelings or whatever, and you know, there's a difference between being alone and enjoying your own alone time, and being able to live life and enjoying your own company, and then being lonely. So like, are you lonely where you're lonely all the time, or do you just have moments and bouts of loneliness, which I don't see that there's anything wrong with that, but it's kind of like the thing with depression. People use these terms real loosely, like, are you depressed, or are you just ungrateful, or are you just having an off day, or are you just in a lower frequency or whatever, or are you clinically depressed, right? Because everybody know everything, and people say things and they suggest things and they project things, so people pick up on stuff and they just be like, this is what I am. Are you anxious? Are you an anxious person and you have anxiety? Or do you just have bouts of anxiety where, it come and go sometimes, every now and then? Are you a depressed person? Or, do you just have these bouts of depression where you feel down sometimes and you're labeling it as depressed, but sometimes you just feel off, or you have a down day sometimes, right? Like me, I'm a fairly happy person, and sometimes I have off days or whatever, but I don't think that that's abnormal. I don't think that it's a clinical issue, because I'm a pretty happy person. But with the depression and the loneliness things, the whole CVD-19, it did a number on humanity. It really did a number on society. It was like a program, right? And people are, believe it or not, but if you just look around, people are still affected and dealing with the effects of that particular program, right? People are so used to convenience, and they refuse to put their phone down and to go talk to the people that they need to talk to. And like I said in another video, one might say, well, Bree, what was the reason that I said that in the previous video, or why am I repeating it? Because when we talk about that whole time of the CVD-19 thing that happened, that biological warfare, right? People were made to stay in the house, and then a lot of people, they bubbled off of having to stay at home, and content creators or whatever people did from working at home and things, right? But then also people had their small little circle of people who they dealt with, and then some people unfortunately transition, and then some people don't deal with them, and then they kind of just stay to themselves. And then it's like we're losing the basic skills of humanity, which is connection. It's easy to connect, and it's so convenient to connect with one another on our devices, but it's a problem. And if you really just watch and you see what's going on, especially if you really look at how people how they share online and the things that they share, it's like a cry out for help. It's like a cry for attention, and we all get down or whatever. But when it's like a repetitive thing, and when you just see like people in a certain type of community or whatever, it's just like all the same thing, like low vibrational, and it's like a loneliness or a heaviness or a depression, you know what I mean? So it's like humanity seems to be losing the basic skills of humanity. Speaking to people when you see them, smiling at people, trying to give people the benefit of the doubt that you don't know, and it's a stranger or whatever, basic human connection, reaching out to people, reaching and touching people, right? Building connections and relationships. And I'm not talking about online, because the online thing is so easy and it's so common, but it's so superficial and it's so illusory, So people have to become disillusioned and just get back to the basic skills of humanity, which is human connection, right? Healing whatever relationships need to be healed. And if you need to set boundaries, then that would be a wise thing to do. But trying to base relationships strictly off of online connection and technology, and just a basic energetic connection, if that's something that you desire, fine. But we're talking about the loneliness epidemic and people being depressed, people who are in these communities, or they're, in connection with people who want to tell them how to live their life. You only get one life, darling. And I'm not saying do absolutely whatever it is that you want to do, but I think that you should do the things that make you happy, and make it your intention to do the things that make you happy. Handle your business, work hard, play hard, right? And do the things that really make you happy, that inspire you, and do the things that you desire, and do the things that you want to do that are healthy. That's what I would advise, because some people will say, well, you shouldn't do this and you shouldn't do that, or people are expressing themselves because, they want attention. Everybody wants attention, and the internet allows for it. We live in a digital age where, you can get on the internet and create all of these different accounts, and you could be all that you want to be, right? Like you in the army. You can be all that you can be. On the internet, you can be literally whatever it is you want to be, right? So, people, there are certain individuals that will tell people, oh, well, you need to figure out whatever it is that, what is it that you want to do, or who were you before society, got a hold of your mind or influenced you, or who your family wanted you to be, who mom and dad wanted you to be, and, you should do the things that make you happy. And then in the next breath, they'll be like, oh, don't do this or don't do that, be this way or don't be that way, because, I know what's best for you. And it's like, no, what people should do is to do the things that make them happy. And a lot of people are depressed because they don't have real connection. They don't have real connection with people. And even if they don't have real connection with people, they don't really have a good relationship with themselves. They don't have a really good relationship with their inner worlds. They really can't even stand themselves for real, right? A lot of people are self-medicating and have a false reality of some type of peace or some type of happiness, Like, I saw someone who had a video up, and they were smoking an L, and, in the back of, the song that was playing in the background was Tim's Free Mind. And in the song, she says, this is the peace that you cannot, I forget what she says, but it's a song about peace. And in the back of my mind, I'm thinking to myself, is that right? So you are happy and you're peaceful, and you're lying to yourself and the world, because you can make a video with a blunt in your mouth, and you have you have Tim's playing in the background talking about that you have peace, but you're self-medicating. So how are you when you're not under the influence of marijuana, is my question. Because just like a lot of people, they sit there and they say, I'm happy, or I have peace and I'm good, when really they're not. Because if that's the case, why are you using substances on the regular, right? I'm not saying people that, just use different substances for recreational use because, they just want to have a good time. But people that have a chemical dependency is a problem, right? A chemical dependency is a problem, because you have a false reality. You're living in a false state of happiness. You're living in a false state of peace. And then people, they get to running from themselves. And I've heard this before. People say, oh, people running from themselves. I think that we all have done it. I think that sometimes we do it when we don't want to face whatever it is that hurts, right? And then also our brain wants to protect us. So our brain gets to protecting us from what it is that hurt. And we really reject it, and we really suppress it, and we really just try not to face it. But eventually you have to face it. And in your sober mind, being able to be with yourself and learning how to appreciate your own company and enjoy your own company and love on your own self, and whatever it is that you're going through, or how people criticize you, or whatever the spectators say, or whatever it is, whatever issues that people have in their house, because there is a million reasons why people are self-medicating, right? When you don't have that under control, and when you have that actual dependency, that is not healthy, and it is a problem, and it is a false reality. Because what are you going to do without it? Can you function without it? Are you the same person without it? And just because you have bad days, again, whether that be depression or you feel what's so-called supposed to be depression, or if it's loneliness or whatever, just because you have off days or whatever doesn't mean that you have a clinical mental health issue. But there is a lot of people that have clinical mental health, severe clinical mental health issues, and misery loves company. So people living other people's lives, people trying to live other people's expectations, people giving oxymoronic messages, you know. Oh, what do you want to do? Don't do what, you know, your family wanted you to do, but what you're doing, I don't think that you should do that. No, you need to play. You need to play, darling. You need to find time for play. Like, you work hard, you play hard. You make time for business, you make time for your priorities, you got that all squared away, then you make time for play, making time for the people that you love and the things that make y'all happy, the things that you do with your kids that make you happy, that bring you joy, and being able to be what they say, like a kid with your kid, right? Oh, we parents first, but we should be able to be happy and you know, we should be able to have fun and find joy in spending time with our kids, right? That actually strengthens the bond between a parent and a child. Really, it really does. So, you know, some people might say that because of how people express themselves, the joy that they express, the fun that they express, the things that make them happy that they do with their family or their kids, they might say, oh, well, that's like immature, or, you know, you shouldn't do that, or da 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 da. Like, people have so much to say and people are so judgmental. And it's like, again, the proper leadership, proper guidance, advice, we can all use it, but we should really do the things that make us happy, and we should really find time for play, because when we find time for play and find time for the things that make us happy, it's good for our health. It's good for our heart. Laughter is good for the heart. Spending time with the people that you love and doing the things that make y'all happy keep you young. And one thing that I've noticed about, you know, actually, you know, a lot of people, but even someone who was very near and dear to my heart, rest her soul, spending time with her grandkids. And well, I'll say plainly, my mother, me and my mother had a relationship. We were like this. We were like joined at the hip. So when you saw her, you saw me. When you saw me, you saw her. And one thing I noticed about a lot of people like my mom, people that spend time with their children and they keep up with the times, and then they have a really good relationship with their kids, or they spend time with their grandkids. And, you know, she used to give give my nieces and nephews like piggybacks, and she used to love to see them eat, and just all that big mama energy, right? That type of stuff kept my mom young. You know, that's one thing that I noticed about the elders. When they, you know, keep up with the youngsters, they stay young. And I just think that that's a beautiful thing. I know for a fact that there's a time and a place for everything, especially coming from, you know, a woman such as myself. Like I said, people that know me for real, that know my background, they know that I'm a very serious person. And I just recently started to share myself in you know, certain ways, you know, sharing myself in ways that are not as serious, you know what I mean? So, but it feels good, and it's really, really, really good for the immune system. It's good for healing. It's good for, you know, maintaining health and just longevity and everything that is good for you. Like, we really have to make time for play. There's a time and a place for everything, and I'm gonna keep saying it because I'm one of the most serious people, especially in, you know, my walk journey. Only if you knew, and I may one day share, you know, a part of my life journey or my background and the things that I've experienced. It's a balance. It's a balance, darling. It's really a balance. We have to be able to find a balance in everything. And if you don't know, I'm bona fide Queen Bree. No, I'm just joking. No, but seriously. So I'm a Libra, right? And A part of Libra's energy is balance. So balance is everything for us. Work hard, play hard. You work hard, you play hard. You got to make time for play. You got to make time for not only the things that you love, but the people that you love. And it's very important because, you know, one might say, well, what's the point of the video? What is the message that I'm trying to convey with everything that I've said over the past 31 minutes? People are checking out like it's nobody's business. So, you know, people are checking out like it's nobody's business, right? And we all know that we come here to leave here, to transition. And again, I want to make myself clear that I'm not saying that people should be out here being reckless and doing all of this crazy stuff, and that they should be even like sharing themselves on the internet all loosely and being irresponsible. There's a time and a place for everything. And when I say a time and a place, I really mean that, because there are some people online that really should be checked. Because I see some stuff and I'm like, is there some type of, you know, filter for this? Is there some type of parental controls, or is there some type of selected audience that you know for a fact that only adults can see this? Because this is crazy. This is outrageous. Like they say, oh, that's wild. No, that's out of order. You know, there are some adults who are literally out of order for real, right? So I'm not saying, oh, be out here and just be loose and just do what you want to do and da-da-da-da-da. No, like if you're anything like me, where there was a foundation that was established, and that you had, you know, you were raised in a certain type of way, right? That you know decency, and, you know, like, yeah, like obviously have some morals and some standards about yourself, because I'm not gonna encourage anybody to do things that are, you know, morally wrong. But I think that, you know, we're not encouraging people to do more of the things that make them happy. Find out what it is that make you happy. And if you have a chemical dependency, don't let my message convict you and make you think that I know it all, or that I have no issues, or that I haven't experienced anything in my life. I haven't developed the strength yet, and this is me being transparent. I haven't developed the strength yet to share with the world absolutely some of the most sensitive things, or some of the most personal things. I haven't come to the point yet where I'm ready to be more transparent. I will be as time go on, and when I fill out certain people or whatever, or when I fill out certain platforms or certain spaces, then I will. But I'm not at the point where I'm ready to share absolutely more transparent. Now I will, but just not right now. Excuse me. I don't want my messages to convict anybody, and that's me saying that, dropping my ego. But, you know, not to be like all in my ego or with a overblown ego, but I will say this just because of who I am, truthfully. If you a hater, if somebody is a hater, or they dislike or whatever, they feel some type of salty way or whatever as it relates to me and who I am, and my messages convict them, or they feel like I'm judging them, or they feel in any type of negative way, you know, they say that if you don't have no haters, you're not doing something right? And, you know, if people feel convicted, or they have some type of jealousy or envy in their spirit, or, you know, within themselves regarding me and my messages, that's between you and God. And that's not me being on a high horse or being in my ego or anything. That's just me giving it to you raw. That's not a me and you issue. That's a issue that you got to take up with God, right? Because this is me sharing my truth. And if you've been watching my content. And if you've seen one of the videos that I posted maybe like a few months to 6 months ago, I was talking about how I was very shy, and how because I'm into metaphysics and I'm into different things or whatever, the chakra systems and different healing modalities and things, I was saying that I was on a journey of healing, essentially healing my throat chakra. And healing my throat chakra, one of those requirements is to speak your truth, to use your voice. And then I've even heard, excuse me, oh my God, I know I'm not about to kiss a fool. As my mom would say, rest her soul. That was my buddy. That was my girl for real. Ooh, you about to kiss a fool. That was my best friend. But speaking your voice, speaking your truth, when healing the throat chakra, right? And shout out to the channel Magnetize Yourself with Infinity. She talks about the throat chakra, the different chakras also, but using your voice, right? And using your voice is very powerful, especially in a world where truth is shunned and people persecute and people convict people and persecute them for speaking truth. We need more truth seekers, right? So yeah, a lot of people they have overblown egos, and they operate in their ego being overblown, and the things that they do, they let their ego kind of like run them and control them. And sometimes, our egos is we can be influenced by our ego. But I don't want my messages to be, interpreted as me being in my ego. I genuinely want to express myself. I genuinely want to be in communication and community and connection, even energetically and physically, with people that are like-minded, right? Because there's a lot of zombies, like I said before, there's a lot of sleep people out here. And it's important that, with human connection being one of the most valuable things that is needed to sustain human life, that I am in connection and community and in relation with people who are like-minded, So what I'm sharing is my truth, and hopefully, I don't have any haters that's coming across can't really control that, but hopefully I don't have no haters or, people who are sketch and sus who are subscribing to me, because that's just weird, But more so like-minded individuals. I don't want to be friends with everybody. I don't want to be in community with everybody, because I know that everybody is not going to be for me. But if people, if they have righteous intent and, I don't care about your religious beliefs or anything like that. If you just, if you rise in the AM or rise every day with the intention to walk in love, to walk in peace, to walk in joy, to walk in righteousness and gratitude and all of these higher frequencies, and just to be better every day and try to figure out how to be a better person. Like, I vibe with that. I vibe with that for real, But I'm not for everybody. I'm not. And like I said, my messages may convict certain people, or might, bring up some type of conviction within them, because we don't live the same lifestyle, and then they think that I'm subbing them. One thing that I want to say is that I don't sit up at night laying on my back looking up at the ceiling trying to figure out how to ruin other people's life, or how to get on the internet and get back at somebody, or how to sub somebody, right? Because that's like the biggest thing, whether it's in like a text post or a video or whatever, some type of gesture, some physical, whatever, it's crazy some of the things that people do for so-called attention, right? I like to share myself because I like to share what I like to do and what makes me happy and what's fun to me. And then just, I'm in I'm on a whole different paradigm, darling, right? So I like to share that. But, you know, some people feel as though they're being convicted because we live different lifestyles. And the way that I feel about it in the back of my mind is like, one day I will share, and I will be transparent about, you know, some of the things that happened in my life journey and what it took for me to get here. But I want you to know this. It took a lot for me to get here, right? So for me to share certain things, it's like another thing that I've learned, right? And it's just wisdom from a baby to this mid-aged woman, right? Or what some may consider mid-age, right? I've learned that I guess that wasn't meant for me to share that message, because I just totally drew a blank. Like you would think like some people be talking about, you know, the the grays or the aliens or whatever, or oh, there's like some power that just, you know, came down and just blocked, like you ain't saying that. You ain't saying that. You know what I mean? Man, I must have had so much on my mind, and I did. It's such a beautiful day. I don't want this time to go to waste. I'm just sharing myself with you guys, and I'm sharing what's on my mind. I'm sharing my energy. I'm in such a good mood. There's been so many losses, you know what I mean? There's so much going on that people's not talking about, and we really never know what people are going through. And there's a lot of people that are like super lonely and super depressed, and you know, people trying to live other people's lifestyles. And like I said, it's good for us to get, you know, advice and pointers from different people to help, because like I said, I like to share, and I like to help too, to help people, to share with people what worked. But yeah, that's what I was gonna say, is like, you know, it took a lot for me to get to this point, you know? So I'm sharing things. Oh, that's what I was gonna say. Very important to me that I've learned, that people can only, and if you really watch and you notice, people can only share with you what they have to offer, right? So you know how they say, like, people can't give from an empty cup. But then also, if you pay attention to the energy, or you pay attention to the intention, or you pay attention to the ways of a person, right? When they are mad or angry, that energy is very contagious, right? They only have that anger or those lower vibrations or that negativity to offer. So I can't expect love from a person who does not love themselves, really love themselves, or love themselves correctly or properly, or somebody who is healed or working on themselves and healing themselves. I can't expect righteousness from someone who doesn't have righteousness at the forefront of their mind. I can't expect humanity from a demon. I can't expect humanity and love from someone who doesn't know how to love, who doesn't know how to express love, who doesn't know how to express humanity. A lot of these leaders of the world, to be specific, right? So that's what I was going to say. So one might say, Bree, what are you getting at? You said that to say what? Well, if I wasn't, you know, healing or healed, if you will, then I would have only these negative things to offer the world, or offer one, right? I will be talking about a lot of the things that people are doing, and the things that they do on a daily basis that is leading to self-destruction, or may not be healthy for them. I would only be able to talk about that. But because I don't live that type of lifestyle, I don't have that to talk about, and I can't relate to that in this time. But if you want to talk about maybe some things that I can relate to that I've done in my past, maybe. But I'm so proud of myself, and I can only share with the world the things that is of my present time and my present day and how I move today. I'm not going to sit here and talk about things that I just don't do. You know what I mean? So because I've come into a peaceful state, because I have created a sanctuary not only in my home but in my life, and I'm different in the way that I move, and it's different from other people, that doesn't mean that I love people less. They may do things that I don't do, but if I love you, I love you. And people that know Bree for real, people that know Queen Bree for real, they know that just because we may not do all the things that are alike, and we may not have a lot in common, they know that if I love you, I'm gonna show up. And they know if I love you, I love you. And like, we say love hard, but really it's like 2025, we should love soft. But you get what I'm saying, right? You get the gist of what I'm trying to say, right? So I guess like the reason why I'm saying this in this part of the message is because it makes me feel a way that people feel convicted by my lifestyle or the things that I share. But I can only share, again, I can only share who I am in real time, my core, and my authenticity. You know, and it would be nice if people wouldn't judge me for feeling subliminally convicted because of the things that I share, the things that I say. I'm only sharing with you what makes sense to me in this time. And some people might say, oh, Bree, you explaining yourself, and that's just too much. You shouldn't have to explain yourself or whatever. But yeah, well, I'm human, and it makes me feel a way. It makes me feel a way that people feel convicted by my lifestyle because I don't do the things that they do, you know? And like I said, without my ego getting involved, it's like, yeah, it makes me feel a way. And that's kind of like me being a little transparent. But with me, that's like, you know, I'm not even caring about the ego. I'm like, give a damn how you feel, you know? So anyway, yeah, it does. It makes me feel a way. And people, they're only going to offer you who they are and what they have. And that's the honest to God truth. I'm telling you what God loves. You know, people can only offer you what they have. So if people are offering you negativity, they're complaining, you know, they're low vibrational or whatever, I mean, what more will you expect if that's just who they are, right? But if you're dealing with somebody who is a powerful individual, who is a beautiful person inside and out, who is a protector, somebody who shows love, somebody who loves hard, somebody who is genuine, you know, not perfect, but, you know, a higher vibrational person, then that's what you should expect from them. And then you should expect that that's what they're going to offer, right? So anyway, I've said a lot in the video, and I have so much that I want to talk about. But in this video, I'm gonna go ahead and end it. And you know, this message was really about me just encouraging people to find the things that make them happy and to do the things that make you happy. And you know, don't be down on yourself and feel a way about people who want to project their ways, their thoughts, and what they think that your life should look like onto you, because God didn't put us all here to be the same. If God wanted us all to be the same, then, you know, life, we wouldn't have diversity, and life would be real, it would be real boring. So we all have a uniqueness to us, and we all have different things to offer, right? And whatever that is that make you happy, that is not morally wrong. I have to say that. Because, you know, people, oh, Bree said, Queen Bree said, you know, get out here and, hey, like, nah, you know, do what it is that you want to do. Like, yeah, go to the mountain, go to the top of the mountain, and you know, you're like, I'm free, you know, find your freedom. But at the same time, we have to be mindful of what's healthy and what is moral, and also what is our responsibility, right? Because there's certain things at certain different levels of power and awareness and all that good stuff. And then with certain levels of power comes certain levels of responsibility. So we have to keep that in mind, you know? Anyways, my vibe is good. The sun is good. As I always say, the sun feels so good. I have to end this. And yeah, I feel so good. And I just wanted to share a really good message with the world. So may you guys stay well. May you get some of this energy and stay in much favor. Ashe.